Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, welcome to the online teaching series for Associate Degree Program second semester. Now, this is the lecture number 5, in which we will talk about the coherence and cohesion in paragraph writing. Since you know that lecture number 4 was about paragraph writing, which is the basic unit of thought in written communication. So we will continue with that, and we will see that what these two terms, coherence and cohesion, what they mean. I give you an example or an analogy. Now, what is analogy? I have written its meaning as well as the pronunciation too. Uh, it is pronounced as analogy, and it means comparison for explaining a concept. So I'm going to give you an example so that what I tell you in the coming slides is easier to understand and you can relate the rest of the slides with this example. Now, if you look at this, what is it? Yes, it's a house. How beautiful it is with all these windows, and it is standing in a firm, on the firm ground, and there is no, you can say, disorder in it. It looks beautiful. But the thing is that to reach this point, this house had a proper process through which it had gone, and then we see that it stands tall, where it does not fall. There is no out of symmetry thing here. There seems to be a proper alignment. Everything is at its place, and that makes it look as one unit, as one complete house. Uh, but in this picture, what I'm going to tell you is that there is something which has played a key role in making it stand like this. There is something that joined together, that connected one thing with the other, so that a beautiful house towards the end can be created or can be constructed. Now, what are these two things that you can see in this second picture, which is on your right? There is cement and the bricks. How these two are combining together, they are being joined together so that the walls of the house or the structure of the house could stand, and then so many other things one has to add over here. Now keep this example in your mind, because this is going to give you the idea of the most important two aspects of any writing, not just the paragraph writing, but of any writing. And uh, now I'm going to talk about some of the problems in paragraph writing. When students they write a paragraph, they face some problems, and those problems are, as you can see, there are these 5 problems I have placed here. Number 1, that there is lack of connection of ideas. You see, paragraph is not just the sentences, not just the group of sentences. In the previous lecture I told you that these sentences have to be related to each other, so that they should combine together, and ideas, they should be in a logical and in a connected manner, and then one can understand what is actually the thought that has been presented in that paragraph. So what happens is that when students they write a paragraph thinking as if it is something very easy, any paragraph what you write, it the problem that it usually the students they come across, or when the teachers they check it, or when the checkers or examiners when they check it, there are certain things which are missing. And one is that there is a connection of ideas. It is not there, you see, where the students they jump from one topic to another in one paragraph. Instead of having just one idea, there are multiple ideas presented, which is not right. Well, now the second problem that the students have in their paragraphs, that there is lack of linking words or transitions. So as you see that when we join sentences and when the ideas are glued into each other, there are some indicators of those ideas, uh, and these are called linking words or transitions. Well, then we see that sometimes students, they repeat the same word. They don't use synonyms. Synonyms means the ones which have the same meanings. So they have lack of vocabulary. Uh, so they repeat the same words, which actually do not give a very good idea about the overall paragraph, right? Then we see that there is misuse of pronouns also, and then misuse of articles, especially in case of Pakistanis, because in English language articles are they are used at so many places before nouns, you see. And in Urdu language there are no articles. So most of the times Pakistani students, even I should say that in the subcontinent, all of us, we have issues with articles. All right. And what an effective paragraph must have. Now, this is how the things that already I have told you in the previous lecture. It's just that I'm trying to connect it with what I'm going to tell you now. So we come to know that in when we write the effective paragraph, what we must have as as its organization, like in paragraph organization, how it should look like. It must have a topic sentence which usually occurs in the beginning. Usually, I'm not saying always, usually it occurs in the beginning, which is the controlling idea or main idea. So the thought that we want to talk about, or what we have in our mind, it is visible from the topic sentence, TS. If you remember the formula that I gave you in lecture number 4. So TS is topic sentence, which is the main idea. There must be unity. Unity means that there has to be single focus, one idea, single idea, not multiple ideas. A paragraph means one idea at a time. When there are many paragraphs, like in essay, then every paragraph of essay has to have a different point, which I will explain in essay writing lecture, which is lecture number 6. At number 3, we see that effective paragraph must have coherence. Now, this is where we are going to be connected with our today's important two things which a paragraph must have. Coherence, which means systematic connection. And number 4, adequate development, means that there should be sufficient supporting details be given. Okay, so that makes all these 4 points are important for making any paragraph effective. Now we get to the topic, what is coherence and what is cohesion? See, so how they are pronounced? Coherence and cohesion. Now, what is coherence and cohesion? Both of them, what are they? So generally speaking, when we look at the broad side of it, both these aspects, they refer to the way a text is organized so that it can hold together. Again, I will take you to the example of house. Now, when the house stands as a finished product, a unit, something that makes it one whole, that is what, when the text means anything. I mean, it can be a paragraph, it can be an essay, it can be any written material. If you look at that, how it looks like a single unified unit or a whole, it's because of coherence and cohesion. And both these refer to the way a text is organized, arranged, so that it can hold together, means it looks like one piece. It looks like a unit. It has this a harmony of thought, of words, of ideas, of sentences. See? And then we see that when we call text coherent, coherent means over here that when the ideas flow meaningfully and logically by using grammatical and lexical cohesive devices. I understand that these are very technical terms, but they are not difficult. So it means that when grammatical or the structural point of view, when the parts of speech, the phrases, clauses, they are nicely arranged, they are logically arranged. First thing comes first, second thing goes second, third thing goes third, and conclusion goes at the end. All these, and how the words, lexical means related to words. So how the lexical or the words, they are linked together, they are at their proper places, that makes the whole text coherent one. Okay, so well, I told you earlier that every kind of writing requires coherence and cohesion. Without it, it's just a disoriented or a jumbled up thing, a disorderly thing. So, coherence and cohesion, they are very important. Now, one by one, we are going to see what these two features of the text organization, what they mean. So first, I will focus on coherence, right? So what is coherence? It is defined as the quality of being logical, consistent, and able to be understood. Now, it is a broader term. When you look at the house, okay, again, I'll go back to the same example, because this is where I told you I have set my whole session accordingly. So when you look at the whole house as one piece, it is not just one piece in one way. It has so many things which make it one piece, you see. So overall, that finished product is a coherence. But what inside those bricks, that cement which holds it together, we will talk about that what is it. But coherence is overall unity, unity of ideas, the arrangement of ideas in a logical manner, that is called coherence, right? For example, if you write a paragraph, because my focus is mostly on this paragraph, or even any writing, it if it is in this order, like you write first body paragraph, then you write conclusion, then you write introduction, there is something missing over here. It is not coherent. So you see, before means over here that before you arrange it, it is in the jumbled order, huh? But when you arrange it, it becomes in a proper place. For example, introduction should come in the beginning, then body paragraph should be in the middle. Basically, this is how essay should be written. So we can take it as something that is required for essay writing. And in paragraph also, we have topic sentence which comes first, then the supporting details or supporting sentences, and then the third is concluding sentence. And in essay, usually we have introduction of something, that idea, then body paragraph, then conclusion. So what I mean to say or mean to show from these two images, that arrangement of the of ideas in a proper sequence is called coherence. So when you do this way, it means you have arranged it in a coherent manner, not this way. This is jumbled up, this is disorderly, this has no sequence, right? So this is the one which has the sequence. And now we get to cohesion. Coherence cannot be achieved without cohesion. Cohesion is something which refers to the act of forming a whole unit. Well, I'll again go to that house and picture number 2 over there, where you saw that how those bricks and those all that procedure, it was going on, the process was going on, how the house was being constructed with the help of bricks and cement, how they were gluing it, linking it wall by wall, and how it was being done in a nice manner. So in a way, we come to know that cohesion is effectively a subset of coherence, something that comes under coherence. It's part of coherence. Subset mathematics people, they definitely have the idea that it's a subset is basically the part of the major thing, something which is the part of a whole thing, something which is bigger. So we come to know that cohesion is the subset of coherence, and it refers to the way texts use grammar and vocabulary. Now you see, these are smaller parts which make up to coherence. So grammar and vocabulary, when we use proper grammar, we link phrases, the words together, and then what happens, they act like a stick, or they stick or glue ideas together. They work as glue. The way glue sticks the things together, it joins the things together. Same way in coherence, in cohesion, there is the use of grammar, then appropriate vocabulary, how it acts like a glue for joining the ideas together. And we come to know that what are those tiny parts of cohesion which makes up to coherence. That is use of articles. When we use articles, then pronouns, of course, because time and again, if we repeat nouns, for example, if I say that Ali is a good boy, Ali sits properly in the class, Ali does his homework. You see, repetition of Ali, 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 it does not sound good. It actually breaks the flow of the thought when you read this paragraph. And instead of Ali every time, we are going to replace it with a pronoun like he. So it will give a flow to the sentences. You see, it's just one of the examples I have written. Then when we write any paragraph or any text, we use word families. Word families means over here that if the word is noun, we know how to make it verb from the same, of course, family. If for there is example I have put over here. For example, if it is analyze, when we want to use it in the form of noun, it would be analysis. When we want to use it in the past form, it will be analyzed. So they are the word families. From one part of speech, we move to the other part of speech, keeping it the same word family. Now this is part of cohesion. Then we use synonyms. I told you earlier also that instead of repeating the same word, if we use the same meaning words, I mean that words with the same meanings, but of course different words, then it adds to the, you can say, diversity or the appeal of the written text. All right. In addition to these, there are some other cohesive devices which include relative clauses, ellipsis. Ellipsis means when we sometimes omit, we delete some words because they are not required. For example, if I say that Ali comes to the class, full stop, he sits properly and takes interest in his studies, takes interest and takes interests. So, here I have not given he or Ali. I have simply removed subject from here. So this removal, this omission, this deletion, it was required for the smooth flow of the thought that is there. Okay, so sentence has now become fluent, you can say, or smooth, and that there is no break when we read it. So we come to know that other cohesive devices include relative clauses, ellipses, and connectors. Now connectors, they are also called conjunctions, or sometimes even adverbial phrases work as connectors. Now I'll give you example of coherence. First look at this small paragraph, a short paragraph, and now read it out and you will see what I mean to say. He worked hard but earned little money and died very poor at the age of 35. There is somebody who is he, and we come to know that he worked very hard, but he could not earn much money and died very poor at the age of 35. 2 years later, his father took him to play at concerts in the great cities of Europe. Do you see any issue over here? Apparently, this is a paragraph which looks like one whole, one piece. But there is something missing over here, or there is something which is odd, which is not right. Now, what is that? Now, again, see, he worked hard but earned little money and died very poor at the age of 35. Here, the person has died. But this sentence, which comes after it, this does not match with the thought that has been presented over here. It seems that this is from somewhere else, it has been brought and put at this place. See? So it is out of place. Sentence number 2 is out of place in terms of the idea, because here it seems to present another thought. So it means it is wrong, not right. So it is not coherent in the real sense because the thought is not single. We don't know. These are two ideas which have been brought over here. So it is wrong. Another paragraph, and which is also wrong. For example, there is this short paragraph. I am a doctor. A doctor works in a hospital. A hospital is a place where patients go. A patient is a person who is sick. Sick is an adjective. See, apparently it has cohesion. Why it has cohesion? Because it does have you can say the link within the sentence, within one sentence. For example, when we say a hospital is a place where, I mean, it is relative clause, how it is linking it. A patient is a person who is sick. Now this is also who is again a relative clause, like who is joining the relative clause. So we come to know that there are some connectors within the sentence, but overall the thought is not clear. We don't know what the writer is talking about. Now, these are all different sentences put together over here. Each sentence has a different thought. So it means it cannot be called a coherent paragraph because it makes no sense, although the words and parts in it are connected together. So we come to know it's also wrong. Let's get to the right one. Now look at this. This paragraph again I have used. It was already given in lecture number 4, where I was talking about the narrative paragraphs, and it was one of the examples of narrative paragraphs, a paragraph. And here you will see, when you read it, you will get to know that every single sentence points to one thought, one single idea, one main idea. Yesterday evening, I got home from school around 4 o'clock. My mother had dinner prepared, which we ate as soon as Dad came home from work. After eating, I helped Mother clear the table and do the dishes. After we got the kitchen cleaned, I had to sit and do my homework. Mother always says, no television until your homework is done. I finally got my math finished, so I went into the family room and turned on the television. I was watching American Idol when the phone rang. It was my best friend Amy. I talked to her for a while, then it was time for bed. I put on my pajamas and turned on my favorite CD. I finally started to get sleepy around 9:30. The next thing I knew, Mother was calling me to get ready for school. Now, when you read this paragraph, when you as a reader, you read, there is no break in your thought. We come to know that this is the routine, or you can say the incident, or you can say the happening of one day, that was yesterday, and what all happened during that time. How it is logically and in a sequence it has been arranged. first things come first, like when he comes back from the school around 4 o'clock, then after that what happened, he did this, or we don't know what is he or she. So um, whosoever is the person over here, he or she he did this thing, that thing, but in a sequence. So the whole paragraph, it runs so smoothly that there is hardly any problem in understanding the idea, the thought behind it. So it means that this paragraph is a coherent paragraph, thus it is a right paragraph in terms of coherence. See? All right. Now we get to cohesion, the second aspect of any written text, any written text. And then we see that when we use cohesive devices have written within bracket the meaning also, that cohesive devices means that cohesion is shown through certain devices which are called cohesive devices. Now this means that words that link ideas, clauses, sentences together. So now we come to, from general, we get to the specific, those words, those clauses, those connectors, which actually create coherence. So you need to remember that cohesion creates coherence. So this is how we are going to see it. Now, cohesive devices, if you, let me just take this now, pen, so that I should underline the things. There are pronouns. See, pronouns, cohesive devices, number one. Now, these are the pronouns, huh? We already know in our first semester course, through that first semester course, that pronouns in parts of speech, what they are. If not, then their little definition is mentioned over here, a short definition here. Then we get to know that at number two, we have conjunctions. They also are cohesive devices through which we create coherence. Then prepositions, all right, they are also the ones which create the connection, because they tell the direction of time, place, anything like that. Then we see that there is a word ellipsis, which I told you, which means that the act of omitting something that the reader already knows. So number four, we have, I think so I should create the connection also, so that you should know what I mean to say. See? So I am creating those links, pronouns, and adverbs. Adverbs sometimes they also act like connectors. Okay. Now this is the example of cohesion, and you will see that in, all right, if you can see that in these highlighted parts, these all are basically the cohesive devices, because they have been they create the link within the paragraph. Now this is not just one paragraph, these are three one main paragraph, main body, whereas two short paragraphs. These are not even paragraphs, I would say. They have separated the sentences, but overall just take it as one paragraph, all right? And then you are going to see, I personally believe that libraries are among humanity's most important institutions for several reasons. Now, here we see that the topic sentence tells us that the main idea over here is that libraries are among humanity's most important institutions for several reasons. Now, in supporting details, you will find out that the writer has given those details with the help of different cohesive devices. Now here it is adverb, which tells us the order. Firstly, now you see how we start our main, or you can say main body, or the supporting details, how we started. Firstly, you see, firstly now prepares us for the order, the number which comes first. Sequence is shown. Firstly, most of the humanities collective knowledge is stored in libraries. Secondly, see how our ideas, they go very smoothly with the help of these cohesive devices. Libraries protect and preserve. Now you see, this is conjunction. Preserve this knowledge. They also, now this is adverb. When we say also, it means that something has already been said and now this is the continuation of the same. Or group the, now this is again a conjunction, group the materials into logical and, this is conjunction, easily available divisions. Furthermore, now this is again these are called transitional devices also, this furthermore or firstly or secondly, which I will explain in the coming slides. Libraries make the materials available to everyone and even provide. Now, I hope you will understand that here in this line, ellipsis has been used. How? The writer has not written again and again libraries, libraries, libraries. He has written, furthermore, libraries make the materials available to everyone, and they have actually skipped. This writer has skipped libraries again. You see, there is no libraries, and even provide. Now here there is the use of ellipsis, which is one of the cohesive devices. Even provide librarians to help us find what we need. Finally, now you see, whenever we look at the word finally, our mind is prepared for conclusion. See, because it is the last point. Libraries are our link to the past and our gift to the future. In conclusion, now this is again a cohesive device, that libraries are important institutions for humanity. See, the thought gets back to the introductory sentence. See, so kindly treat it as one complete paragraph. It does not look like a paragraph in the sense that they have left a line over here, but you need to understand that this is actually one whole paragraph. Okay. Now, what are the cohesive, within cohesive devices, there is one important, you can say, subset of cohesive devices, which is called transitional devices. And now these transitional devices, they are called linking words, linkers, connectors, or transitional words. So these are words or phrases that show the relationship between paragraphs or sections of a text. Now all these words which you look at that from this table, they all are transitional devices. They give transition. Transition means that how they, though they change the one sentence into another, the ideas flows from one to another, but it is smoothly done with the help of these words. They are not pronouns, they are not articles, they are the ones which can be, which are actually adverbials. You see, they are adverbials most of the times. You see, they are, and somewhere, and overall they are called connectors or linkers. So moreover, additionally, compared to likewise, they are used for different things. Like if you are showing some more points, then you will use this. If you are comparing one thing with the other, you might use these. If you are giving examples, so you can use these. And if you are giving some sequence or some order, then you will use these. So transitional devices, once again I tell you, they are part of cohesive devices and they are called actually linkers or connectors. Other than the given, I have already discussed those cohesive devices. Other than those, so they are exclusively, they are the ones which are adverbials most of the times, you see. Now I give you an example of cohesive devices, and here we are going to figure out what cohesive devices have been used in this paragraph. So let me take the pen and I tell you, see, this yesterday is one of the cohesive devices because it prepares us for the events of one day, and that is yesterday. I got home from school around 4 o'clock. Now, this is the same paragraph. I want to over here highlight or underline the cohesive devices. This time my focus is not on coherence, because it is a linked paragraph. It has one single thought. So it means that in that sense, it is arranged nicely. It has the topic sentence, and then it has the supporting details, and then it has a conclusion. Usually in narrative paragraphs, we do not have the controlling idea like that. We understand it from reading it, that this is the account of one day or one event or one such occasion, you see. So here we are going to look at the smaller details. We see that yesterday evening I got home from school around 4 o'clock. My mother, now you see, my tells us that this is about the writer. From I we get to my. My mother had dinner prepared, which, now this is the relative clause. This is the whole is the relative clause, but this shows the relationship. We is another, this is pronoun, like my, we, it means that he is talking about his family. We ate as soon as dad came home. You see, as soon as, this also it creates link with the other sentence. Dad came home from work after eating. Now you see, this is transitional device used, which is part of the cohesive device. I helped means, again we are focused on one person, that is the writer. I helped mother clear the table and do the dishes, and do the dishes. I helped mother clear the table and do the dishes. Over here, and conjunction, do the dishes. Here ellipsis, because here what has been omitted? My mother clear the table and my mother do the dishes. You see, there is no repetition of that, it has been removed. After we got the kitchen cleaned. Now, after we got the kitchen cleaned, all of it again, we get to know that from here it is again the transitional device. Again, pronoun. I had to sit and, now here again the omission. Instead of writing I had to do my homework, simply we have to omit I had to, because it is not required, and we have to start from the verb. So I had to sit and do my homework. You see, again it links with the previous, that it is all about him or whosoever the writer is. Mother always says no television excuse me, no television until your homework is done. I finally got my math finished. So I'm not further highlighting the pronouns, because you see, pronouns everywhere they are going to be one of the cohesive devices, right? So I finally got my math finished. So I went into the family room and turned on the television. I was watching American Idol when the phone rang. When. Now, when is also how it is linking. So quickly, I think so I should tell you that everywhere there are transitional as well as other devices used. So I went my math into the family room and turned on. See, so different conjunctions, different pronouns, adverbs, relative clauses are there. You see, these are relative clauses. When the phone, now this is sequencing. Relative clauses are this way. After we got the kitchen cleaned, it was my best friend Amy. I talked to her. So you see, instead of writing Amy, we are saying her pronoun. Then it was, you see, then it was. This is again a conjunction. It time for bed. I put on my pajamas and turned on. So here again the ellipsis, because I has been removed on my favorite CD. My favorite CD. I finally started to get sleepy. The next thing I knew, next, you see, the next thing. This also prepares us for next event or next happening. Mother was calling me to get ready for school. So Now look at this whole text. Within this, how many things are here which make up in making it a coherent whole? Otherwise, it would look like something which is disarranged or badly arranged. But due to these cohesive devices, this has become a unified in terms of its structure and thought. So, this is what I told you, how to underline or how to point out the cohesive devices from here. So I'm going to now summarize whatever are the takeaway points from this session. That cohesion and coherence, they create connection within any text and organize it in a grammatical and logical way. So to simply put it, if somebody asks you what are cohesion and coherence, then you should know that they create connection within any text and organize it in a grammatical and logical way. They glue the text into one whole. So they glue means they stick together. They create links. Coherence gives semantic unity. It should be thematic, gives a thematic unity. It should be a and then space, gives a thematic unity. Cohesion provides grammatical and lexical relationship. Now these are a bit of there is a difference between the two, and that technical difference is that coherence gives a thematic unity, whereas cohesion provides grammatical and lexical relationship between different elements of a text which holds it together. And then finally, we see that there are many cohesive devices or linking words which are used in any text. They can be prepositions, conjunctions, pronouns, adverbs, and yes, ellipses, when we omit the unnecessary or irrelevant words because they are not required. So in a nutshell, what is a cohesion? Through this image, I can tell you, like when we have these puzzle pieces separately placed, so they are the cohesion. These are the cohesive devices which are separately placed over here. But when you place them together, and how beautifully they make up a pattern of a puzzle that looks like a unified whole. So coherence is a unified whole, a symmetry, something that has one idea, single theme, whereas cohesion are the connectors or the gluing or effect or the linkers which separately do their task for making something a whole. Well, let's get to home task because home task is important for practice. There are two home tasks that I have prepared. One is that I'm going to give you something on the next slide, but first try to understand what it is. That on the coming slide, there are some chunks of text. Chunks means some pieces of a text from a paragraph of writing about. Now this is the paragraph which will be given in the coming slide, which is about the importance of healthcare to a nation's economy. So keep in mind this topic, that it is about importance of healthcare to a nation's economy. So this is the single theme. Okay. So you have to keep that in your mind. The paragraph contains lots of ideas, but we see what are those ideas. What you need to do is you have to try to put the chunks of these pieces of text into the correct order. They are uh, in a disorderly manner given over there. So you have to bring them together and make one whole paragraph using coherence and cohesion, both. Now I give you some tips that look carefully at the ideas in the paragraph in which the writer tends to move from general statements to more specific examples. Look at the cohesive devices to help you predict what might be coming next. So there are those pointers or the clues that will be given to you in the form of those cohesive devices and those transitional devices within cohesive devices. So you need to look at those clues then arrange those sentences in an order. Okay. And in order to give you the first hint, you can start your paragraph with this line from the coming slide. To help you start, here is the first chunk of text. It is often said that the wealth. Now, this should be your first sentence. I mean, you should start, it is starting point. So now we get to this home task. You have to create a logical paragraph. These are 14. I don't say these are sentences because they are jumbled up in the form of incomplete sentences. They are sometimes like, just phrases or so. But you have to combine them. You have to bring them together into one paragraph. And then you have to show it to me in your registers. And this is not difficult because you see, if it is written for example, then you will see that where should it be placed. So you have to start it from here, from sentence number 11. It is often said that the wealth. Rest you have to combine and make a paragraph. Right? Now this is what you have to do. I hope that it is clear as far as home task is concerned. Home task 2 now. When you write this paragraph, second task is that you have to now write a paragraph from your own side, giving your opinion on taking online classes. Now, this is the theme. This is the main idea. Taking online classes. Now, please follow the instructions and I will see it accordingly. Make sure to use factual information to support your opinion and conclude with why you feel the way that you do. So they have given you the hint. The hint is that you have to use factual, give facts or some opinions that you, not opinions, their facts means that you have to give some kind of the, you can say, the ideas which are based on reality. So factual information, correct information you have to give to support your opinion and conclude with why. And the conclusion should be that why you feel the way that you do. Whether you feel good about online classes or bad about online classes, whatever is there. After writing, acha, now this is the next thing you will do within the same paragraph. When you write the paragraph, after writing, label it according to its parts. Which parts? Now here, topic sentence. Number 2, supporting details. Number 3, concluding sentence. Now these are actually the 3 important parts of any paragraph or of even essay. So after writing, label it according to its parts, write cohesive devices in color. Oh, what you need to do is now that if whatever cohesive devices you use, you have to use different color or highlight them or underline them. It's up to you. But the last thing is limit yourself to maximum 12 lines. You should not write more than 12 lines because a paragraph can't be going on and on and on and on. So it should be a 12-lined paragraph. And how your paragraph should look like. So I have given you some hint. Either you write an indented or block paragraph with justified alignment. Now, what is this justified alignment? Or what is this indented and block paragraph? Now, don't read it. It's not for your reading. It's just for looking at the overall look of the paragraph. When you write, how should it look like? It should start if you are... okay, now first let me explain this thing. Now, what is the justified alignment? Now, you look at these green vertical lines. It means that the straight edges on both sides of the paragraph. Now, it should go in one vertical order in terms of the lines, how they are. They are the straight, vertically straight. No haphazard way of writing it. They start vertically from top to bottom, from both the sides. Now, if such a paragraph is there, which is written over here, see, any difference can you see between these two? Yes, there is a difference. It starts from the left side and it carries on and on and on and on. But this does not start from the left hand side. This is drag towards the right side. A bit of the space is given in the first line. So such a paragraph is called indented paragraph. So both are right. Either you go for this when you write your paragraph, or you go for this. But in terms of the alignment, go for the justified alignment, which means that all your lines towards the right side, they should end in vertical arrangement, in the vertical alignment. They should be straight from top to bottom, and the words should not be haphazardly placed. The lines should not be haphazard. All right. So my purpose is to give you the look of the paragraph. So it should either be this or this, but it must be justified. Even you write indented paragraph or block paragraph. It's up to you. All right. So I think so that was quite a lengthy lecture, but it was important. So we are going to end it. Thank you for watching and listening. So inshallah, coming up next will be lecture number 6. The idea is the same, that is written communication, but we are going to talk about essay writing. So till then, Allah Hafiz and stay blessed.